G'day guys, welcome to another episode of Advanced Drift Tech series. We're hanging here today at WTFAuto and we're going to talk to Tristan on specifics of tuning a car for its actual use, and in this case drifting. If tuning wasn't an issue, would it be worth having two different tunes for a smaller track or a bigger track?
It's an interesting question. I think really the bottom half of the tune, like off boost and coming on to boost, would be the same in both cases, but one would be running, say, a lot more boost than the other one. So I think more so just having two different boost levels with an intelligent boost controller would be the solution to that. It would give you everything that two separate tunes would, but just at the touch of a button there. So you've got your low boost for your small track and your higher boost for the big tracks.
Is it worth retuning a stock car with the aftermarket ECU?
I'd say definitely yes. When these cars are programmed from the manufacturer, they've definitely got to focus towards economy and emissions and just generally running like a road car. And there is so much more we can get out of them, both in torque and throttle response and boost response, if we just make the tune a little bit angrier. So yes, I think the first modification, and a lot of people say this, first modification should be a programmable computer. Forget about your cams and turbo and all of that. You can get so much out of most cars just by reprogramming them.
Is there any sort of pre-planning that should take place prior to getting your car tuned?
I think the important thing is that you make sure your car is ready to race. So putting a car on the dyno and tuning it is punishing, right? It's as punishing, if not more punishing, than actually drifting the car. So you need to make sure that everything's set up right. You need to make sure you've got a big enough fuel pump. You need to make sure that fuel pump's got enough power, that you've got good silicon joiners, good clamps, all of these things, because there's nothing more frustrating than a car that's 97% prepared, but it's that one thing that lets go, that ruins the whole tune, and then you've got to go away, come back and spend money all over again. So do everything you can to make sure that that car is 100% ready to race.
What do you prioritize in a car when you're tuning it for drifting?
Definitely not economy. What we want to do is give the driver the quickest response possible to commands. So if you put your foot down, you want that power to be sharp. You want it to come in very, very quickly. You don't want any big delays in getting the turbo winding up or getting that fuel into the combustion chamber. So very peppy response is the first thing. The other thing is a really meaty and torquey torque curve. You don't want the engine to be lazy. When it does come on boost, let's face it, you want to lose traction. That's the name of the game, isn't it? So we want that torque to kick fairly aggressively and maintain for a decent amount. We're not trying to make peak torque all the way at redline or anything like that. In fact, sometimes it's a little useful to have the torque just taper off before the rev limit, so you're not sitting there bouncing it on the limiter, especially if it's an SR, because we all know rev limiter bouncing is not the greatest thing, right? So a meaty torque curve that comes on aggressively, tapers off a little bit at the end, great.
All right, Tristan, so with response, do you, everyone's always looking for response when you're tuning a car, because no one's obviously trying to tune it for lag.
Yeah.
But what would you say that is the important part of response when it comes to a drift car? Like, is it the throttle, or because it's not just turbo response?
Right. Yeah. It's a confusing thing because response can mean so many contradictory things even. Mm-hmm. See, we can make a car very sharp on throttle response. That's got nothing to do with boost. It might as well be non-turbo. Yeah. That's about you hit the accelerator and it delivers. Or you can make a car get the turbo up to full boost at the lowest possible RPMs you can. That's also something that people call response. But really, they don't go hand in hand. If you tune it so it's very peppy on the throttle off boost, sometimes you'll delay the turbo coming on. If you tune it so it spools the turbo as fast as you can, it may make it a bit soggy on the pedal. So what we find for drifting is we believe the best results come, especially on a smaller four-cylinder engine, to make it as peppy as possible off boost. So you've got that that instant response to accelerator input,
Yep.
and just let the boost come on as it comes on.
Yeah.
All right, Ken, so now we've been through all of that, it's time for this. Skyline with an RB something, right?
Yes, RB20.
Cool. Upgraded turbo?
2860.
What else?
It's got AFM. It's got
yeah?
some injectors.
And a programmable computer, no doubt.
Yes, a Power C.
Cool.
Yeah,
all
my
right.
favourite.
Yeah, the usual combination.
That's
so
it.
let's just, I don't know, wang this thing up to infinity
Do
and see what comes out.
Yeah, do what you like.
Sick. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is just give the car a bit of a health check and make sure everything's working. What better way to do that than a power run? So the boost controller's turned off, but it's just tried to go to infinite boost. So maybe someone has put the boost controller in backwards. I'm gonna have to go check it out. So one of the most common problems we have when people bring us fresh built cars is boost controllers plumbed up wrong and boost just goes to infinity. So I know we want infinity boost, but maybe after we've done a little tuning. So fixing these lines now and then we'll give it another go. All right, so the boost controller's fixed. Let's give it another go. That went well. The boost level was where it should be for the boost controller turned off. Start winding it up and see how much it's happy with. Probably the second problem we have, boost controllers that don't work. So it looks like what we've got here is a common problem for this brand of boost controller, and that's that the power source for the solenoid, which comes from the boost controller, has died. It's not getting power anymore. So what I'm rigging up here is a new power source for the solenoid, and you know, 90% of the time this fixes it and everything goes just fine. Gives it a few more years of life. Here we go again. Cool, that boost controller works. Let's get on with remapping this thing. Lots of page ups. Finally, a successful tune. It made just shy of 300 horsepower, which is what we wanted. But this is a significant thing. This is how the boost was before, and this is the boost now. This is because I was running a manual boost controller before. Now it's electronic. It's giving it heaps better curve, bringing it on boost. It should be a pretty cool drift car.